Ah, she knows nothing. Poor thing. Suppressing my laughter, I pleaded in a pathetic voice. I'd be in trouble if Harold left me. How will I live? Then Natalie burst out laughing on the other end of the line. You're just a gold digger for Harold, aren't you? A housewife dumped by her husband, how miserable. It's tough, honestly, but I don't want to complain and make Harold hate me more. Tell Harold to call me once the divorce is ready. Thanks for being so understanding. Bye. After hanging up the phone, I clenched my back teeth. Enough with the mockery. Just you watch. I'll knock you from the pinnacle of happiness to the depths of despair. I silently vowed. After confiding in my uncle, I decided to make Harold resign and determined to make them fully realize the consequences of their actions. I hired a private investigator for a conduct investigation and did as much research as I could on Harold and Natalie. 2 weeks later, I sent a message to Harold. I want to discuss our divorce. Please come to my place with Natalie. The two of them showed up at the appointed time, hand in hand, smugly smiling as if to flaunt their relationship to me. As I led them into the living room, Natalie sneered. Wow, haven't bothered to replace the furniture? You really are broke. Well, being a gold digger to a big corporation worker like Harold, it's understandable. Excuse me? You stole my furniture and you have the nerve to say that? I could report you to the police, you know. Oh, please. That sounds terrible. I just moved the furniture Harold bought himself during the move. Just as Harold said, you're not too bright. Natalie's disdain was palpable. Turning to Harold, who awkwardly averted his eyes from me. It was clear he was trying to impress Natalie. When the furniture was replaced because it was old, Harold was unemployed, and my salary was all we had. To lie so blatantly when it's bound to be discovered, who's the dumb one here? Muttering curses under my breath, I addressed Harold. Harold, you feel the same way as I do, right? That is, you want a divorce? Yeah. Harold nodded, looking displeased. I'm sick of taking care of a worn-out old woman like you. He spat out disdainfully. Meeting Natalie made me realize that everything that hasn't worked out in our 20 years of marriage is all your fault. I couldn't believe my ears. That's my line. Being with you has brought my luck down. That's why I'm leaving you to start my life over. Then, he made a demand. What? Alimony. You've been a nuisance for 20 years of marriage, haven't you? I'm generous, so I'll let you off with $100,000. Come on, hand it over. You can even give me your bank account, and I'll withdraw it myself. His haughty tone made me feel not just angry, but somehow sad. He can't live with Natalie on his current salary, so he's begging me for money. High pride, but stooping so low. All right. It must be expensive to live with 5 people, after all. Really? Are you sure? His eyes sparkled before he puzzledly asked, 5 people? I smiled and explained to Harold. Yes, that's right. Natalie and her 3 kids. From the top, they're in junior high, 6th grade, and 5 years old, right? All girls, aren't they? Natalie's face drained of color. Surprised, Harold glanced back and forth between me and Natalie, showing his confusion. Huh, with kids? I knew about the divorce, but kids are news to me. Natalie, what is she talking about? Natalie, lips sealed, remained silent, and Harold's eyes widened in shock. Seriously? No way. He muttered, disappointed. Harold must have cheated on me, thinking Natalie was divorced with no kids. From the envelope handed to me by the investigator, I took out the report and a stack of photos, choosing those showing Natalie with the kids, and spread them on the floor. "Good luck with the challenging ages, Harold," I said with a touch of sarcasm. "It's highly doubtful you, who declared hating kids and dumped all childcare on me, not even wanting to bond with your own son, will be embraced by someone else's children." "No, it'll be fine. Look, they all resemble Natalie and are cute, so I'm sure I'll come to like them." Harold forced a smile and held Natalie's hand. Natalie, looking up, remained uneasy. Then, the intercom rang with Isabella's voice coming from the other side, causing Harold to start. "Huh, why is Mom coming?" "I told her we're divorcing because of your affair, and she insisted on being present," I replied, and Harold grimaced as if swallowing a bitter bug. Opening the door, Isabella barged into the room, pushing past me with heavy footsteps, and immediately started yelling at Natalie upon entering the living room. "You home wrecker!" Natalie, eyes wide, quickly put on a smile and tried to charm Isabella. "Isabella, their marriage was already over. So, your term is incorrect." "No, it's not. The thief is you and not my daughter-in-law. You stole my precious son from me." Isabella pointed a finger at Natalie, spitting as she shouted. "The daughter-in-law is plain. The mistress is a thick makeup-wearing mother. Harold has no eye for women." Harold hung his head as he was scolded. "And now, 3 daughters? Fooled by seduction by such a failure who can't even bear a son. Without me, you fall for the worst women." Harold lifted his face, weakly protesting. "Don't speak ill of Natalie, Mom. It was her previous husband who was no good. If she remarries me, she'll surely bear a boy. Right, Natalie?" Yes." Natalie's cheeks twitched as Isabella glared at her venomously. "Trust that? If you're going to remarry the mistress, take Cody with you. Then I'll consider it." Harold's eyebrows dropped in dismay. "What? I don't want that brat. He's bad at online games and doesn't bond with me at all. Not cute at all." His selfish remarks infuriated me. After all, he hardly ever played with him from a young age, always shooing him away. "Isabella, it's impossible for me to take Cody," I interjected, unable to hold back any longer. "Be quiet, you too. He's already 19, living in a university dorm. He's very independent and plans to live on his own after graduation. I won't let you do as you please. It's common sense for a boy to return to his father's family home after a divorce." Isabella's eyes widened in surprise. That's a piece of common sense I'm hearing for the first time in my life. My frustration with the ever unreasonable Isabella grew. Harold." After remaining silent for a while, Natalie timidly tugged at Harold's sleeve. "What is it, Natalie?" Seeing Harold's sloppy smile made me angry. "If he's your child, I'm sure he would be cute. But having 4 kids? Are we financially okay?" To this legitimate concern, Harold confidently replied, "Don't worry, Natalie. As I've told you before, my family is wealthy. Plus, I'm a high-income director at a large corporation. Marrying me means you'll be set for life." At his words, Natalie's face lit up with joy. "I'm so happy. Then I don't have to work at the cocktail lounge anymore. Being a hostess was getting hard at my age. It's been tough for you. From now on, I'll protect you, so you can rest easy." Hearing Harold's pretentious statement as he embraced Natalie, I felt nauseous. Doesn't lying so much ever make you feel guilty? I wondered. My guests probably felt the same. Suddenly, the door separating the next room from the living room opened. It might have been slightly earlier than planned, but the timing could not have been better. Seeing the person who suddenly appeared, Harold shouted. Startled, he quickly turned away. The woman who opened the door looked over at the confused Isabella and Natalie and greeted them with a polite smile. Nice to meet you. I'm Serena Tucker, the daughter of the owner of Tucker Industry where Harold worked 10 years ago. The Tucker Industry? Natalie and Isabella's eyes widened. Thank you for your politeness. Oh, isn't that the company where my son is currently employed? Yes, Isabella. Harold, what's wrong? Harold, who had been brimming with confidence until moments ago, started to tremble slightly. See, everything gets revealed like this. What do you plan to do now? Unable to contain a smile, I covered my mouth with my hand. I thought it was strange. That company not following up on the re-employment of its former employees was unheard of. After revisiting old newspaper articles, I found that most employees were referred to affiliated companies or subcontractors. Then, tracking down a former colleague close to Harold using the address from a Christmas card, I discovered a shocking truth. Harold, you were fired just before the company went bankrupt. Harassing Serena, an intern at the headquarters, and enraging the CEO was the cause. Natalie and Isabella were dumbfounded. Ridiculous, right? A 20-year-old college girl would never have an affair with a nearly 40-year-old unremarkable assistant manager. Too much confidence can be a bad thing. With a mocking laugh, Natalie looked at Harold incredulously. Harold, did you really pester a college girl? What's with that face? It's only natural for a man to pursue young, wealthy women. Got a problem with that? Natalie and Isabella were shocked at Harold's brazenness. Wait, assistant manager? So, Harold, where are you working now? At my uncle's company. His title is a part-time job at $8 an hour. He'd been unemployed for 10 years, so I got him working again by kicking him in the rear. I explained the details to Natalie and Isabella with a smile. I got him the job at my uncle's company through my connections. Despite the rule that he should work every weekday, he insisted on working only 3 days a week, so I had to plead to my uncle. Isabella let out a strange cry. It seems she hadn't heard anything from Harold. Natalie, all the furniture you two took was bought with my salary. When we replaced it, Harold was a mobile phone game addict and unemployed with zero savings. But, Natalie muttered in disbelief. Harold used to brag about how he was the one providing for his wife. He always complained you weren't grateful enough. The pot calling the kettle black, right? I glared sharply at Harold, who was cringing uncomfortably, and unleashed the anger I'd been storing up. While you were unemployed and lazy, I was desperately working, balancing housework and child-rearing. As a woman, that's to be expected. Nothing to brag about. Harold shouted back defiantly. And yet you always looked down on me. And even after getting re-employed through my uncle's company, instead of being grateful, you went and got yourself a mistress. How much more do you intend to belittle me? Shut up! A part-time job through connections and you're acting all high and mighty. And when was that? I laughed contemptuously. What are you talking about? Too bad. I'm now a senior vice president. I announced cheerfully, and Harold stiffened. What? Say senior vice president? That's right. Unfortunately for you, I'm earning more now than when you were an assistant manager. Liar! A third-rate university graduate like you couldn't possibly be earning that much. When I showed him my salary slip, Harold's face twisted in pain before he finally hung his head in defeat. Then, Isabella, seemingly recovered from the shock, wrapped an arm around Harold's shoulders and sneered at me. "Challenging your husband despite being just a daughter-in-law, how impudent. It's because of your attitude that Harold grew tired and sought a mistress." Tired of even bothering to respond, I ignored her as Isabella comforted Harold with sweet, gentle words. "Harold, leave them and come back to Mom's place. I'll find you a suitable wife. You can have a son with another woman." "Yeah, I'll do that." Harold looked apologetically at Natalie. "Sorry, Natalie. Since you don't have Mom's blessing, I have to break up with you." At those words, Natalie's expression turned ferocious. She stood up abruptly, face flushed with rage, and yelled, "I'll be more than happy to. You lying womanizer. I thought marrying a director of a large company might be worth it, but what a mistake." Grabbing her designer bag, she pulled out her mobile phone, wallet, and makeup pouch, then hurled the bag at Harold. "I wouldn't be with a 15-year-older man otherwise. Thinking you're desirable with your delusional is just gross. Natalie, don't touch me." Shoving away Harold's grasping hand, Natalie left in a huff. Serena, who had been watching everything, bowed to me and left. "Here's the divorce petition. Sign it and submit it to the office. If it's too much trouble, send it back to me in the envelope I included." I handed the divorce petition to a tearful and frozen Harold, then informed Isabella. "We'll go through lawyers for the arrangements for the divorce compensation. The discussion is over, so please take him with you." I was leaving anyway. "Harold, let's go back now and come for your things later." As I saw Isabella and Harold out, I mentioned one more thing. "Oh yes, please also settle the $80,000 debt he's accumulated from our joint account for online gaming. He went back to being jobless, so I'll be sending the bill to you, Isabella. Take care." Isabella turned back, blinking in disbelief. "What?" "It's for his online gaming. Since Harold's jobless again, I'll be sending the bill to you. Bye now." I pushed them out the door, locked it immediately, and breathed a sigh of relief. The next day, Harold sent back the signed divorce papers, which I promptly submitted to the office. To my surprise, the compensation amount I requested was deposited into my account without any complaints from Harold. Isabella must have covered it to get rid of me quickly. The stolen furniture was also returned in good condition, which was a relief. When I demanded compensation from Natalie, the money was soon deposited into my account, and then, to my surprise, Natalie's mother brought her to my house. Encouraged by her mother, Natalie apologized to me with a displeased look. Her mother was also very apologetic. The compensation her mother covered will be paid back by Natalie, who will now have to juggle her cocktail lounge job with another part-time job. It's good that her mother is a sensible person. Afterwards, though I thought Harold would get along with Isabella, their relationship apparently soured. Back to being jobless, Harold showed no signs of seeking employment, immersing himself in online gaming, and spending Isabella's savings and pension. "He used to be so cute, but my daughter-in-law turned my son into a fool. If this continues, I'll lose all my savings. I wish he would leave the house," Isabella supposedly complained to neighbors. Finally free from Harold, I've been feeling refreshed and living each day to the fullest.